Welcome back, metalheads. If you heard that intro, that was from our good friend and guest today, fan of the show, Dan Pelletier. Dan Pelletier. Oh my gosh, and Dan is on right now. Dan, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here at my house too.
We are actually at Dan's basement right now. I am recording on an Audio Technica 3300, which is one of our standard mics we use. Mm-hmm. My friend Dan, these are for audio nerds. They're into this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Dan's on an ATM 710. Mm-hmm. I have, what are these called? These fluffy things.
Windscreens.
Yeah, but what's the actual number? I know you know it.
Oh, AT8112.
Yes. It's my favorite number. Yeah.
Of
Lucky.
all times.
Good old Lucky 8112. And I'm actually getting to use, these are Audio Technica ATM 50s?
ATHM 50s.
ATHM 50s. And these are the 50th anniversary silver.
Yes, they are.
Exclusive.
Yes.
So cool.
Yes,
so
they
thanks.
are.
So we're in your studio.
We are.
Our family's upstairs, and they're making chicken stroganoff?
Yes.
Yes, which we're going to eat after this episode.
Yes.
Super excited. There's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. First off, go ahead and promote anything you want to on social media, websites, YouTube channels, anything. Go for it.
Well, my nickname is Danable the Cannibal, so you can follow me on Instagram. And most people, it's funny, most people don't know how to spell cannibal.
Yeah, it's not a real common word
that
I use in my vernacular.
So DANNIBAL, the CANNIBAL.
Double N.
Yeah.
Does cannibal normally have two N's?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought I had one.
CANNIBAL. And then Twitter's, that couldn't fit that many characters. So it's D_ the cannibal.
Okay.
Another one would be Deerhead Family. That's the Twitter account.
I need to follow
Deerhead
that.
Family.
I haven't followed that yet.
It's my record label.
Yes. You are a record executive.
I'm a record executive. As a matter of fact, I have a business card somewhere around here.
I saw you have a mouse pad.
Yeah, I have a mouse pad.
We are sitting in your studio. You have a Deerhead mouse pad.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The Deerhead business cards that we made have I'm the Minister of War or Minister of Foreign Affairs, something like that.
A really nice title.
Yeah, and Josh King, who's also
What's up, Josh King?
One of the execs.
Yeah.
We made business cards and they're all just silly. It has the Deerhead logo and we all gave ourselves ridiculous titles like Chief Executive Officer, and the other one is Minister of War.
That's awesome.
It's funny. And really funny thing about that is that I actually got a free lunch at Larby's. A free lunch at Arby's.
Oh, sweet.
Who's Larby? He's going to be somebody now.
I thought it was like a Cleveland
somewhere
Slovak restaurant or something.
Somewhere there's a Larby out there. Careful.
They're spotted in the woods.
Yep.
Oh, that's
But I got
sweet.
a free lunch at Arby's. Some guy looked at the polo shirt that I have, and he said, what's that all about? And I said, well, this is my record label. And he's like, oh, I know a guy, in Kent, and he's looking for a label. And, would you listen to his band? And I was like, well, yeah, sure.
Was he a customer?
No, he was the manager at Arby's.
Oh, sweet.
And
sweet.
he gave me a meal ticket. He gave me 2 free meal tickets.
A meal ticket sounds really like sad. You know what I mean? It sounds like it's a total handout.
He was like, oh, here's some cards, some free tickets. And then this was the best thing, is that I went back to redeem it.
Yeah.
And I asked for that guy, and they're like, there's no guy here.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, either he got fired for giving me Arby's, lunch tickets.
Right. I wonder if he was like a homeless guy and he found him and just gave it to you. Or
he
was
look like it, or
he was a ghost.
I wonder if it was like Undercover Boss.
Right. He had a terrible set of glasses and mustache and he bleaches his hair blonde.
Yep.
You're like, this is so dumb. No one's buying this. That's awesome. Well, so check out Dan's stuff. He is hilarious. We've been friends, and I'm glad you mentioned Kent because it reminded me of our story. So I used to work at a place called Deluxe Business Systems, which if you guys have ever bought a box of checks, it's probably been Deluxe. It's the red and black box of checks with the D on it. It's Deluxe, son. And
Superstar extraordinaire.
Yep. And so we had a mutual friend we knew, this girl named Tara that worked there. Mm-hmm. She worked day shift. Right?
She worked day shift with me.
Okay,
yes.
I worked night shift.
And my cell.
Yes.
Because they used to have cells there. That's the cell was the kind of like subdivision within.
Yeah.
And I always thought ours was funny because it was called the bound cell.
Oh, that's
I thought that it was kind of very...
That's negative.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's like
very,
cell dweller.
Yeah. we're in the bound cell. Look over there. Someone's bound up. Yeah.
See rats scurrying and dripping water. And, yeah.
Totally. Chains.
Yeah. Very dark.
Yeah. Someone listening to, I don't know, some industrial music from the 90s.
Nine Inch Nails. Closer.
Nails. Like, yes, look at this.
The bound cell. So we knew, we both knew Tara, and really, really great person. And so she said, I have somebody you should meet or something. I forget. She's like introduced us, and I think she talked to you about me and vice versa. And she said, there's this guy, Dan Pelletier, you got to meet him. I think you guys would hit it off. I don't know why, probably because we talked about music or metal or something.
Yeah, well, I made it pretty clear about... I mean, we would, I didn't just come out to her and say, hey, everybody, look, I'm a Christian.
Oh,
you know,
that's,
like,
yeah.
You know, but I mean, you kind of know because, you wear it on your sleeve, if you will. And,
well, I think, I don't want to cut you off. I just thinking too, sometimes the lack of things you do, like if there's certain things you don't do that most people in the world would do, that stands out like crazy, So you don't have to necessarily come out and be like, I'm a Christian, or wear a John 3:16 t-shirt. It's just the things you don't do that sometimes people are like, huh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and we talked about it because, of course, when you're a Christian, Christianese, and you go to life group,
all these words and terms.
Yeah. Well, what's life group? Well, let me tell you what life group is.
Right. Join the club. That's so funny.
Well, I know this guy who works night shift, and that was you.
Yeah, that was me. That was me.
Us up.
So we met, and it was funny because Tara, also her boyfriend, was the manager of the Chipotle in Kent. So I never had Chipotle before. And so Tara hooked us up, and she gave us like these gift certificates with these there's like a wooden nickel type thing for $5 and stuff. So we got Desiree and I went, I got
a wooden nickel.
What is that? Golden ticket?
Golden ticket.
Oh, okay. It was like in a minor key. I wasn't sure. Nickel. And so I remember going through getting a barbacoa burrito. Desiree got chips, guac, whatever, the bowl, drinks. We got like $3 back in cash. I was like, this is the best experience ever. To go to Chipotle, get paid to eat there. I bring paper and cardboard, and they give me actual coin.
Yes.
It was awesome. So thanks again, Tara, if you listen to this. I don't know if she does. But so that's how we met, and that was it. That was years ago.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago.
Was it really?
Or no, it was more than that. It was either 10 or 11 because I started at Deluxe in 2004.
Yeah, 2003, 2004.
I quit in 2005.
Okay. I think I was already gone. No, I wasn't.
I quit. Yeah, I quit right in the summer, I think, of 2005. At the end of the summer.
Okay.
Because that's when I started. I started school then for recording engineering, and I knew that the first semester I did was a spring semester. So when 2005 started, and then I continued at Deluxe through the summer. And then when I went back, I knew I couldn't do school full time and work full time. So
I do remember those days. That's right.
Yep.
So very cool.
Yep.
12 some years.
Yeah. So it must have been. Yeah. It must have been 11. Yeah. 2004.
So
incredible.
All these times go so quick. Dan would. You knew a lot of cool like music and shows and things. You introduced me to like Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Chimp Spanner, which was another band.
Yeah, I know that band, Chimp Spanner, from from England.
Are they from England?
Yeah.
And that's you're channeling Carl.
Carl from Aqua Teen.
ATHF. My heart. That's awesome. So yeah, there was a couple other things like different music and cartoons. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Aqua Teen. There was quite a few things. And so you're really big into metal as well.
Yeah, metal and hardcore. It was. There's so many genres of metal. And I was in more of like the metal core kind of stuff.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know. Some of it was, some of it wasn't. Metal's very broad. So.
Yeah. So
broad.
I want to talk about metal, but first tell me like where you were born, where you grew up, the family dynamics, just anything I'm just interested
Okay.
in the town. We went today to Bedford.
We went to Bedford. Bedford is I grew up in Walton Hills, and Walton Hills is a part of the Bedford City School District.
and
I don't know.
how far is that from like Cleveland, like
It's
downtown Cleveland?
20 minutes from Cleveland.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's like this in other cities, just because, I really just don't know. But
Sure.
in Ohio, we have school districts, and it could be multiple cities that make up one district.
I don't know if I knew that.
The Bedford City School District was the village of Walton Hills, the city of Bedford, the city of Bedford Heights, and the village, and Oakwood Village.
Okay.
So all of that made up one district. So I grew up in Walton Hills, which was the like upper middle class. Mm-hmm. But then my parents split when I was 7, and a few years later, I went to live with my dad in Bedford.
Okay.
Which was a town over, so always really close. And so I would consider everybody I hung out with. I hung out with maybe 2 Walton Hills kids. Everybody else I hung out with was in Bedford, so I mostly consider myself Bedford. And since that was the school district, you just generically say Bedford.
Okay. That's the go-to.
Yes.
So cool. So yeah, it was funny today because we went to it's like, we're recording this now. It's December 12th. It's 65 degrees out.
Unreal.
It's crazy. So we can thank global warming,
Thank you.
Aquanet.
I'm so glad that global warming hit Cleveland, because I was getting sick of walking uphill both ways and to work in the snow.
You got it down.
Yeah, I did. I was Carl for Halloween a couple years ago.
Oh yeah?
And nobody, right now, nobody can see me. So
Sure.
you can see me.
I can see you.
Right?
We'll put pictures
A lot
up,
of
too.
people don't know, but I'm a fairly short man.
You are.
I'm 5'5",
Yeah.
maybe on a good day, and
It fluctuates.
yeah, it kind of fluctuates. It depends. It depends on what kind of shoes I'm wearing.
Sure.
But I don't wear heels.
That's right.
That's right, no heels. Yeah.
I'm trying it now.
So a couple years ago, I was Carl for Halloween, and so being short, like girls would never really come my way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that really, that everybody likes the tall guy, right? So when
I
you see
guess.
like the short guy.
Yeah.
So it was like dating life was really difficult for me, but like I dressed up as Carl, and I swear I got like more girls were coming up to me.
Really?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. I really I didn't know whether it was just because I was funny or because I was Carl.
Yeah. So
And
you must have had it down. You must have had that costume down.
I did. I was insulting.
Did you wear doesn't he have like his belly showing a little bit at the bottom?
I put a pillow.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I can make myself look bigger than I am.
Yeah.
And
What'd you do for the hair? Because isn't he like kind
I
of bald?
put on a bald wig.
And then is it long in the back? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So because he's male baldness on the top, hair on the sides.
Yeah.
And I was rude, and girls were like,
But some girls are like that though. Like they marry.
I can't believe you like this.
They marry or they date jerks.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah.
like if you're abusive verbally or whatever,
Yeah.
they like stick around.
Yeah, get over here, broad. And like, oh, you're so funny.
Broad
Like,
daylight.
yeah, totally. It's terrible.
It's so sad.
But
it's hilarious.
yeah, but I did good. I married a good one. So
Yeah, you did.
Very, very happy.
Not as awesome.
Absolutely. So,
Very cool.
Was-
really quick
Yeah.
too. This may not happen with positive thinking. We did tweet at Groovy Bruce
Yeah.
on Twitter. And so we are waiting to see. We gave him the hotline number. We're checking our phones. We may be interrupted.
twice.
That's right. He may be calling. Maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's like. You are like a huge mega fan of Bruce Campbell and everything that he does.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. So he's got the hotline. So we'll see if he actually calls
Yeah.
in and do an interview.
Let's hope.
If he does, though, what are we going to do? You'll have to ask all the questions because I don't really know his backstory.
I will.
Okay. Will you lock up and just like fangirl out?
No, I don't think so. I think given, if I were by myself, yeah, I'd probably freak out.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I tweeted at him, how do you feel about Bruce Campbell tattoos? And he tweeted back to me.
Did he?
And I was like, oh my gosh, Bruce,
So cool.
He said that he liked it because he said it was free advertisement.
Yeah.
But even, fangirling, excuse me as I'm burping up my coffee. Okay. Yes, I work for Audio Technica.
Yes.
and I get to do trade shows. And one of the trade shows I get to do from time to time is NAMM, which is the National Association of Music Merchants, NAMM.
I've heard of it.
And there's always a ton of celebrities there. And,
Really?
oh my gosh.
Why?
It's since it has to do with music and new gear.
Okay.
They come out in droves.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
it's kind of funny about being a fangirl because the Jackson 5, the surviving members of the Jackson 5 came to the Audio Technica booth, and I was like, I don't care. Like, Tito's there. It doesn't bother me.
Tito.
Hi, Tito.
Hey, Tito. Big fan of the show.
Yeah, just nothing. But then like Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden was there, and I was like,
Yeah. Could you talk? Do you get a little starstruck?
oh yeah, with that I did, and then
That's got to be so annoying if you're a star or just famous, and everybody you talk to is like always, for the most part, locking up. You're like, gosh, come on.
Billy Graziadei from Biohazard, and I loved Biohazard growing up. Like he was there, and I was like, Meshuggah.
Meshuggah? Oh, yeah, I know those are your guys. Yeah,
freaking out.
Yeah,
and just everybody else comes in, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Ben Folds was in there. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Just didn't. I mean, I like Ben Folds.
Sure,
he's cool, but I didn't fangirl. I was like, but everybody else. Oh my goodness.
My gosh,
freaked out. I saw Stevie Wonder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. He walks like he sings.
Really?
You know, he bobs kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
But he walks that way, and he has an entourage around him of like 20 people.
Yeah.
And everybody has to clear out of the way when Stevie Wonder is walking down the aisle.
Because he doesn't use the stick, does he?
No, he just walks and I mean, just bobs from side to side. Yeah,
but you would never know. Like, does he probably doesn't look like he's blind when he's walking?
No, not really. Yeah, it looks pretty natural. That's like he has somebody, he'll have somebody next to him guiding him, of course.
Oh, okay.
And so he was there. There was a guy came into our booth, and I was like, you know what, man, you look so familiar, and I was like, I can't place it right now. Yeah. I was like, but I know you.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm Bernie Williams. I forgot how many times he's won the World Series, like 3-time World Series champion.
Really?
And I was like, oh my gosh, you always used to lay it down on my Indians.
Oh yeah,
on my Cleveland Indians, but
yeah. So you are a Cleveland Indians guy, Browns guy. No, Browns guy.
Kind of.
Yeah.
The Browns. The Browns are like, I love the Browns, but the Browns are kind of like a 40-year-old son who never left home, and he's a good kid. You're like, oh, he's a good kid, but you've already accepted he's not going to be successful.
Yeah, he's not going to be married.
He's not going to be married. You're like, oh, you know what he's like? In a way, he's like Carl.
Really?
He's like if Carl lived with his parents, only Carl's a lot more funny than the Browns.
He's the personification of a football team.
He kind of is.
Okay.
Yeah, if Carl lived in Cleveland, he would be the Cleveland Browns.
All the people in the staff that makes it up, he built. It's like Voltron.
Yeah.
Like all the Browns people build this.
They build
Carl.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
I love the Browns, and that's who they are to me. And you can expect to be disappointed. On the local ESPN radio, Tony Rizzo they constantly says that Yakety Sax is playing, during the whole game. Like,
just
like the whole
silly
game.
Yeah,
that's the Browns.
I have a friend Jordan who him and his dad had tickets, like really good tickets to see the Browns, and so he couldn't go. So we purchased him off of them, and we were like 7th row, 50-yard line, Brown side. It was awesome, and they actually won, which was amazing. I forget who they were playing, but dude, it was so awesome being that close.
Yeah.
You know,
every game I paid for the Browns, which has been somewhere around 8 games. I'm actually going tomorrow.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, that we have an Audio Technica rep coming in, and we want to show him a pretty good time. The 49ers are playing, and that's his favorite team, and we're gonna.
Oh, perfect.
So it's kind of networking, get to know. I wouldn't have gone otherwise. Absolutely not. But every game I've ever paid to see, they've lost.
Okay.
My qualification is paid to see.
So this is a free game.
Oh, well, no, this one I'm paying.
Oh, you're paying
so
for
thor
it.
Probably going to lose because it's been like 8 games. Yeah, don't have season tickets, but every game they've lost.
What is their record right now?
2-10.
Really?
But I worked two Browns games a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I did on-field audio.
I remember that.
Awesome. It's great. And my job was pretty much just to take care of the ref.
Really?
Yeah, before they switched their systems, they had a telex wireless system, and you had to make certain that nothing went wrong with it. And if anything did, you'd have to run out on the field. You'd have to switch the batteries, and Actually, kind of a cool story about that. Well, they won both games that I worked, which is incredible.
We should contact the Browns, tweet at them, say,
dude,
hey, listen.
I should work for you.
You're good luck.
But they kind of implemented a system in a way that I came up with.
Really?
Yeah. So the system is when it's raining outside, you have to get a sandwich bag and put the sandwich bag over the transmitter so that way the ref can still communicate.
Is that the belt pack?
Yeah, the belt pack transmitter. So to keep the moisture off of the transmitter so it doesn't short out.
Sure.
Well, I was like, so the first game I worked, it was against the Bengals. It was Browns and Bengals, and they won it like 7-6 or something. It was something stupid.
Yeah.
And the next game was Browns and Chargers, and it was a miserable outside. It was 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, freezing rain, and I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning because I have to be there at 8 o'clock. And I'm running around our apartment at the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I got to figure out, like, you know, I got to get a couple sandwich bags because I doubt they're going to have them at the stadium.
Yeah.
So I got a couple sandwich bags, and then I thought about something. I'm like, I think there's a way to keep these dry.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going to put a desiccant in
What's
the you know when you get those little silica gels from something new, that's a desiccant. So I was like, I'm gonna grab a couple desiccants, put them in the sandwich bag, and then just leave them.
Okay.
And the whole game it worked. It was awesome.
Okay.
So I told somebody about that. I told them about and I guess they did sound for a couple other NFL teams. So
really,
so now
you got to patent that
sandwich bags and desiccants.
That's it.
Works wonders for your audio, guys.
It'd be cool if you were like, you have nothing to work with and you're in the stadium and you just grab one of those giant foam fingers and put it over the top. So it's the back of the referee's like,
yep,
shaking the finger.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's cool, man. So you grew up in Bedford.
Grew up in Bedford. Yeah, back to Bedford. Thanks.
Bedford, sure, no problem.
There's no D's in Bedford, just so you know. It's Bedford.
Bedford. Oh, no D's.
No D's.
I was going to not pronounce the D of bed.
Yeah.
Bedford.
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 Oh, man.
What?
Yo, man, I'm from Bedford.
What's up?
What's up, man?
That's good. That's really good. I feel like I'm there.
No. We're doing this.
So what was school like?
School was fun.
Were you like good student in school?
In every subject but math.
Okay.
I was always terrible at math.
You were not a mathlete.
I was not no, definitely not. We so in ninth grade, I went there in ninth grade. I went to Nordonia.
I don't know what that means.
That's another school district.
It sounds like a mythical school.
It's the Nordonia Hills High School.
Unicorns.
Which is Sagamore Hills,
Yep.
Northfield, Macedonia.
Okay.
So Macedonia, or Northfield,
Okay.
Donia. So Macedonia,
Oh.
Macedonia, Nordonia, Hills, Sagamore Hills, Nordonia Hills.
Crazy.
See, this is how we do it in Ohio, school districts.
Wow.
So I went to Nordonia for 1 year. I hated it. Bedford was maybe 60, at the time, maybe 50 or 60% African-American.
What grade was this when you were in Nordonia?
10th.
Okay.
So my dad moved from Bedford to Northfield.
Okay.
And since I was living with him, of course, I followed suit.
Sure.
So Bedford was like at least 50% African-American. So I went to Nordonia at the time, and that was maybe 90-10 white.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody hated everybody.
Really?
Oh my gosh, it was the most racist school I've ever been to. The black kids hated the white kids. White kids hated the black kids.
Oh.
Everybody hated each other. I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
I made friends with another transfer from Maple Heights, Gerard, and I was like, I loved him. We were great. We ended up sitting at a table with another black kid who didn't want to sit next to me. He made it pretty clear that he didn't want white devil sitting next to him.
Jeez.
Yeah, and a couple years ago, he got convicted of murder, so I'm glad that I stayed away from him.
Whoa, didn't get too close.
Yep. It's pretty crazy, but I was like, I got to get out of Dodge. So, or Nordonia.
I got to get out of Nordonia.
So I went back to Bedford my junior and senior year. I couldn't have been happier.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So when you grew up, were you really into music?
Yeah.
Okay. Into metal as well?
No, not really. I really liked classical music when I was young. I really liked it. And my dad liked classical. My mom liked pop music.
Okay.
And I was always encouraged to listen to classical by my father, but never really pop. And so when my parents split and I was 7, I became a big ball of anger. And
sorry, I don't know why I laughed.
Oh, no,
super insensitive.
No.
Remember that one time your parents split up?
Remember that time? That was hilarious. So they, that's so good. So when they split, big ball of, a giant ball of anger consumed me.
Angst.
And I started listening to heavier music at that point, and
Kenny Loggins.
Oh man,
ELO.
Precisely.
Mannheim Steamroller.
So the first band was a group called Ministry, headed by Al Jorgensen.
Yes,
They're
I've
like
heard
an
of Ministry.
industrial.
Yeah. This is probably 90s?
They were very dark. This was late 80s. Early
late
90s,
80s. Okay.
Yeah, and they were very dark. So I'm like 8 years old listening to this stuff. It's kind of terrible.
Wow.
And
Did you ever listen to Fear Factory?
I did like Fear Factory, but
Yeah.
I started to transition around 92 when when my parents split, I was in second grade, and I met a kid named Chris.
Okay.
And he also lived in Walton Hills on a street called North Meadow Park. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get to that then.
Yes.
So a couple years later, Chris had moved out of Walton Hills from his dad's house to live with his mom in Old Brooklyn, Cleveland, in the Cleveland area. And a couple years later, he came back, and we decided that we were going to start a band. And he showed me Biohazard and a band called Integrity, a local band. And in 1992, like, I lost it. I was like, those were the next group of bands that I was like, this is it.
This is it.
And that really started the ball rolling.
Yeah. Did you ever get into the grunge phase at all? Or what did you feel about grunge? Like Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots?
I liked
Nirvana.
I liked Nirvana. I liked Soundgarden. I liked Alice in Chains. Mm-hmm. At first, I liked Pearl Jam. But then, like, the grunge movement started taking over. And by that time, I was already established as, like, I like hardcore.
Yeah.
I identified with it.
Yeah.
Biohazard had, like, really tough lyrics, and I felt like I needed that type of masculinity at
Sure.
really at 12 years old. And, I got picked on because I was short too, so that really put me like, you're not going to mess with me now. Like, my eyes got wide. I got,
crazy eyes.
crazy eyes. I was still nice. I still never wanted to hurt anybody, but at the time I was like, I still felt empowered by it. I hate that word. I think everybody, abuses that word.
Yeah.
But it really, it did. It put a fire in my heart.
Huh. That's sweet.
And I started a band with Chris because right around that time too, I was learning Helmet songs. And Helmet, I liked Helmet, but they didn't take me to the next level.
Okay.
Until I heard Biohazard and Integrity, then I really liked Helmet.
Okay.
Yeah, so that I was like, oh my gosh, I get Helmet even more. But that's how I learned how to play guitar. I was playing Helmet songs.
Oh, okay.
So
sweet.
Yeah.
I was. There's so many tangents I have. I wanted to talk to you about.
That's what's going to happen when really you get you and I in the same room.
It's
We're going to
all
go on
good.
tangents.
We have fun though. It's always fun.
We always have fun.
And I just want to say we're drinking coffee, and I'm drinking out of a beer stein.
Yes, and so
which I feel super. I don't know. I can't make that sound with mine.
Yeah.
This is super cool though. I think Link is on mine. I think that's Link from The Legend of Zelda. He's got a green little cap on.
It's a much older Link.
Yeah, exactly.
It's washed up Link.
It's the new one. But I remember. Okay, so when I first met you, you very much identified yourself with the Italians.
I did at first.
You did.
Yeah.
I mean, I met you. You had the Italian horn.
I did.
You met another mutual friend of mine, Joe Caminiti Jr.
Yep.
And you shook hands. You're like, hey, like I'm a Dago too, And I'm just quoting. I'm not being. No. I'm not trying to be disrespectful,
And
no,
you're
like,
whatever. Not that you like whatever. I don't. Dago,
Yeah,
you know
like,
about the joke about the Italian tires. They go this way, they go that way, and they go wop 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 wop.
Oh, jeez. Right? Yeah, that was not me. That was totally Dan. So he can say that. Now, if I say it, there'd be hate tweets. But luckily, we only have 67 followers on Twitter. So, but you said that to another Italian American guy.
On Twitter, I'm looking.
And keep checking. Keep checking. Okay, nothing yet. Bruce will call. Let's be positive, everybody. Yeah. Positive energy. And so I was like, okay, Italian. You're short, dark hair, curly hair. I was like, yeah, this guy's totally Italian, which you were. Mm-hmm. Then I met your dad, Dennis, and it was so funny because for the longest time I thought this guy is like totally Italian. I never met your mom. I just always met your dad. And then it was funny because I would get these little telltale signs of like whenever we go over to your house, your dad was always watching hockey. Yeah. I was like, okay, I didn't put it together. And then what was it, 5 years ago?
It might have been
3 years ago, maybe. I don't know how it came up. We're talking about your dad, and you said he's French Canadian.
French Canadian, Quebecois.
I had no idea. I thought he was like this, auto worker Italian guy. Hey, forget about it. You had a forget about it like sticker or something on your little mini fridge upstairs. And
I got that for like a birthday or a Christmas present, something like that.
So I felt like, what? And then I saw his name was Dennis with one N. I was like, what? That's Denis. So
Denis Pelletier.
It was, and then Pelletier is French.
Yeah.
And how do you pronounce it?
It's Pelletier for English, but it's like Pelletier.
Okay,
Pelletier.
So that's French.
Yeah, I mean it's funny too about that. It's that if you watch The Walking Dead, Carol, her last name is Pelletier.
Really?
But with one L.
Is that now? I don't know real well. Is that her character's name or is that okay?
Yeah, Carol on The Walking Dead's Carol Pelletier.
That's so funny.
Hilarious. It's a really popular name in Canada and in Western France and Normandy.
Really?
Yeah,
is it like would it be like Smith or something? As far as or not that common?
No, it's not that common.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to figure out what it might be related to.
Let's talk about it for the next 45 minutes and bore everyone. Pelletier. What was the percentages of that?
Well, I mean, even related to that too, my direct descendant is partially responsible for colonizing Canada with the French. He was one of the first 100.
Really?
Yeah, Guillaume.
I don't know anything about this, so interesting.
Yeah, Guillaume. He was also known as Le Gableteur.
The Goblin.
So the goblet.
Oh, it's close.
Le Gableteur, because he liked to drink.
Oh.
He was very happy. He was a happy drunk.
Wow, you have to drink a lot to be called that,
Well, me, no, I really don't. I used to not be so much of a lightweight. I'm a lightweight now.
Yeah,
I don't. I know I was never. I never abused alcohol.
Yeah, well, not you personally, but your lineage.
Oh, my lineage
to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Le Gableteur. To have that nickname.
To have that nickname.
Oh my gosh.
Drink a lot.
You'd have to drink a lot. You don't just do it once and then they're like, hey, this guy.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
See the one time you drank out of that cup, that mug?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So we have our family lineage. It's.
And your mother's side, she's Italian.
She's Italian.
So that's where you get the Italian from.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I met her once. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And you have two sisters.
Two sisters.
Italian.
They more so identify as Italian. I've actually changed.
Have you?
Yeah. I think when I saw my family lineage a couple of years ago, I mean, I knew about it, but when you actually see it on paper and you see who your direct descendants are, it really affected me.
Really?
And I said, wow, like I want to go to Canada. I want to learn French now. And I just got my sister's Rosetta Stone that she never used.
Oh yeah.
So
have you gone to Canada since, or?
Yeah, but never. I haven't been to Quebec since 1990.
Okay.
I was very young.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember about being there the second time was that they have these cheese curds, these cheddar cheese curds.
Oh.
And they're awesome. And they put them over fries and gravy, and it's called poutine.
Oh.
Or in French Canadian, it's a poutine. Poutine.
Wow.
So, at least that's how my dad always pronounced it. So I just follow suit again.
Classic Dennis.
And it's so good. But I remember I was eating them raw, like I was just eating the like cheese curds, and I had Tahitian treat, and I remember just barfing them all up at my cousin's house.
Oh my gosh, Tahitian treat.
Oh yeah, Tahitian
I had my
treat
first can of that like 2 months ago.
Really?
Yeah, because I've always wanted to try it, and I was at this little convenience store, and the store was like, take a drink, and so I was like, this is the perfect time because I don't want to spend money on it because if it's gross, but it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, Tahitian treat.
It's like a high class fruit punch.
Yeah,
Hawaiian punch.
Yeah, so, really. It's Hawaiian punch with carbonation.
Carbonation.
Yes,
that's a French word. So there was
you forgot the bon.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I don't know what that was. That was weird.
La fromage, baguette,
long cigarette.
Yeah,
with the thing.
La mouche. That's the fly, by the way.
The fly.
La mouche.
La mouche. So you had an interesting job. We worked at Deluxe. We told about that.
Oh yes.
But before Deluxe, you. There's something with you and
the village of Walton Hills, where the
yes, please.
Village that
I love the name of that. The village of Walton Hills. That sounds like a children's story.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or something with vampires.
Yeah. It was a great little town to grow up in.
Can you tell me about that job?
So the job was a service department job, and I was a summer worker. So they made me do all the dirty work.
Okay. How old are you?
I started, I think, when I was 17, and then I did 5 or 6 summers there because it was so much fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, they pretty much immediately stuck me on dead animal duty.
What do they call it?
1045s.
10:45.
10:45.
We got a 10:45. He's down.
10 codes. 10:45.
Does each animal have a different number?
No.
Like a raccoon's 45.
Well, Walton Hills has a pretty large deer population.
Really?
So I clean up a lot of deer.
Ugh.
And because I listen to metal, I kind of made it a silly, sickening joke. There was one time. There's a kid named oh gosh, what was his first name? Mark. I just remember his last name, and I don't know if I want to say his last name on.
That's fine. You don't have
to. But it was his first summer, and he I guess what's that term? Affluenza.
Yeah.
Like, whereas his parents, like his father, he was, I think, maybe 18 years old, but his dad was 70.
Whoa.
So and he had everything, right? And since Walton Hills was upper middle class, like he had everything. So we cleaned up a dead animal near his house. It was a dead deer.
Oh.
And we put it in the back of the truck. And, because I'm sickening, I grabbed the deer's mouth.
Oh.
I was like, hey, Matt. Hey, get me out of here. I don't like being in the back. It's too windy, too drafty back here. I'm moving the deer's lip. Oh, man. He couldn't take it.
Yeah.
He's like, you got to stop doing that, man. And I'm like, why not? Why do you want me to stop? It was great. There's stuff like that, but I clean up a lot of dead animals.
Yeah.
A lot.
Like how many would hilarious. You say in a summer?
In a summer, you probably clean up at least 100.
Oh, and they're all like different forms of decomposition.
Squirrels, possums. Oh yeah, different forms of decomposition. Yeah. Different. Well, most of it is roadkill.
Yeah.
Some of it though is not. Some of it's just an old deer that died in somebody's backyard and just rolling with maggots.
Oh my gosh, it had to smell terrible.
Yeah,
that summer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was a few that were just totally unforgettable. There was one in somebody's backyard, and it was a 4th of July weekend, and we got the 4th of July was on I think a Thursday.
Okay.
So we got Thursday and Friday off. Sweet. And it was sitting over a super hot weekend for at the very least five days.
Oh.
So this thing was well rotted.
Yeah.
And you could see the maggots rolling it. And we
Lord.
had to move it out of this person's backyard. And this was the only one where I almost couldn't do it. It was so bad. So we drug it out of this person's yard.
Yeah.
And I'm telling my coworker, Dan, who is known as Chuck because he used to operate the chipper.
Okay.
Like a woodchuck.
Yeah.
So we grabbed this deer and we're running from this person's backyard. And Walton Hills has some pretty big backyards, like an acre. We're running an acre with this dead deer, trying to get it back to the truck. And the trucks all had a W number. Okay. So, every vehicle did. So W for Walton Hills. So this was W9.
Okay.
The two trucks are W2 and W9. And I remember we had W9 that day. So we grabbed the deer and we're dragging it across the lawn, and I was holding my breath. So I had to stop and run and then gather my wits again and run back and grab it and go again. So as we get it to W9, and I'm grabbing this deer by, its two front legs. Oh. And Chuck has it by the two back legs. And we had to get it on the truck. We had to get it on the tailgate. So when you get a dead animal in Walton Hills, you bring it back to the service department and throw it in the dumpster.
Okay.
So
I guess I never thought about where the dead animals go.
So if it's a smaller animal, it goes into a garbage bag and then into the dumpster. But if it's a deer, you lift it up and throw it in the dumpster. And this one, as I'm lifting it up to put it on the tailgate, one of the legs rips off.
Oh my gosh!
It's the one in my right hand, and I'm right-handed, so it's my dominant hand. And I knew, because there were so many maggots, I was like, please God, do not, like, this other leg, do not rip off. So I'm holding this one leg in my hand.
All the weight is on that.
I'm trying to get it up with my left hand, and I'm holding on for dear life.
Come on!
I swear.
Come on, guy.
Yeah, the pun intended. Because I knew if it dropped, maggots were going to go everywhere.
Oh my gosh!
So I get it on the tailgate at W9, and Chuck was like, "That's it, we're done." So we get into the truck, and we're driving through Walton Hills with this rotted deer on the tailgate. We didn't even put the tailgate up so everybody can see it as we're driving back to the service department.
Ew!
Oh, it was incredible.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. It was and I loved it. That was great.
Are you one of those people that, like, gross stuff like makes you laugh, you're like, oh my gosh, this
Oh
is
yeah, it
so
was terrible.
gross.
It was so gross. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I would always like, I would never defile the deer.
Sure.
But sometimes when I'd throw them in, I'd go like, wee.
Yeah, yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Make it comical.
Yeah, I'd always try to make something funny.
Have you seen the? They're not really memes. They're just people that do. They put they'll tie like a get well soon balloon to a dead deer carcass. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of dead animals
Yeah,
and people will
that
run
would
out.
have been me.
Put the get well soon.
Yeah.
Stuck to it's all rigor mortis out.
Oh yeah.
That's gross.
There was a dead animal in there was a dead fawn in a lake.
Oh,
I had to take that out.
that's so sad.
And of course they put me on the duty because I was like, yeah, let's go do it. Like a World War II soldier.
Yeah.
With a cigar.
Chomping a
And I'm
cigar.
Like, all right,
Yeah.
let's go do this.
Yeah.
You know?
Maggots. You're like, oh my gosh, there's
All right,
actually maggots.
Yep. All right, boy, fellas, let's get it out.
Right. What? There was something too you told me about with like smaller animals, and you would.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I remember that story.
Okay, so there's one road in Walton Hills leading up to the service garage, and on the bottom, it's on the road goes up the side of a hill, and on the bottom of the hill was the Metro Park Service Department. And for those who don't know what the Metro Parks are, they're a park system in Cleveland that they're wonderful.
Yeah.
Where you can ride your bike, or just do like a joy ride through a park.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a national park kind of thing.
Okay.
And so the Metro Park Service Department was at the bottom of this hill, and there was a time where, like, if we got it just right at a certain point in the hill, we can throw a dead animal onto the service department.
Oh.
And I don't know if it was I don't know who it was, if it was me or Chris, the guy Chris I mentioned earlier. But we would run across the street and then heave the animal as hard as we could.
Were you holding the animal like by the tail?
No, like it was on a shovel.
Oh, a shovel. Oh,
Yeah,
that's better.
So then
for
we'd launch it as
trajectory.
hard as we could.
Yeah.
And you'd always hear like branches breaking because it's on a hill and a lot of forest. Like, but there was one time, and I don't remember if it was Chris or me, but there was one time it was like. And we, like with that thump was a boom. And we're like, yes, we got it.
That means it hits the roof.
Yeah, it hit the roof of the Metro Parks Department.
So, did you sometimes have animals that were just stuck in trees?
No,
Like they would all
they
eventually.
were all too heavy. Yeah,
It was like Plinko.
yeah,
On,
yeah, totally. It was like Plinko.
Nature
Animal
Plinko.
Yeah, so we got it once, and my boss, Dan Stuckey, I can't say his name, it's public record.
Sure.
I liked imitating him too because he was pretty funny because he was so typical.
Yeah.
He was great. He's another Italian guy, good Italian boy.
Yeah.
And he would always start off with, he would say, "See if you can't." Then he'd drop the F-bomb.
Okay.
And then he would tell you what he'd want you to do. And then he would say, and then drop an S-bomb.
Okay.
And then laugh. And he'd twiddle his keys the entire time. So I don't have any keys. But I don't know if would I be allowed to
I can
be a
bleep
little-
it out
you
or
can bleep
cut it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So apologies in advance to the listening audience and my Christian brethren. But it just for character purposes, he's like, hey, oh yeah, my nickname was the Mole.
Oh, okay.
Because they said I look like Morocco Mole. It was a cartoon character. If you guys want to look him up, that's
Morocco
Mole.
Okay.
So he'd be like, "Hey Mole, see if you can go down to Village Hall and pull weeds and." Every time.
You had it down to like a formula.
Oh yeah. Hey Cooper, see if you can. If there's a dead animal over on Alexander, why don't you see if you can't go pick it up? Every time. Oh, it was so good.
I feel like he's in the room right now.
Oh yeah, he was great. So he called me over and he was like, "Hey Mo," and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, you put the animal on the Metro Park Service Department," and I was like, "Nah, no, you can't fool me, Mo. I know you did it. You can't do that."
Makes sense. You
Yeah.
probably shouldn't do that. You're like, that's why it's so funny, Dan.
So then after he told me, he made the public announcement.
Made the public announcement? What do you mean?
Well, he called me in the office, and then after he did that, then he came out and told everybody, "Don't do that."
Oh, I see.
Because the other thing is that if with Walton Hills, since it was such a wooded area, if it was in a residential, you had to pick up the animal and throw it in the dumpster. You had to take it back. But if it was in a wooded area, that's when you can just chuck it into the woods.
Oh, okay.
And that was the funnest. That was the funnest part.
Yeah, that would be fun. It's a lot more satisfying than just a dumpster. It's like, meh.
I would sometimes act very angry with the animals. Like, why did you have to die? And I'm throwing them,
like you're in that angry denial phase.
Next time, look both ways.
Right. That'll teach you.
Yeah, that'll learn you.
That's great.
It was so fun. Everybody was a character, including Dan Stuckey.
He twiddled the key.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. So, and I imitated Dan in front of Dan once.
Yeah.
And he about lost it. It was so funny.
Oh, he enjoyed it.
Yeah,
he was a good sport.
He was doing something, and somebody said, "Hey, Mole, why don't you do your impression of Stuckey?" And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" And he's like, "Yeah, go ahead, Mole." And I was like, "Hey, hey, Stuckey, see if you can go down to the village hall, talk to the mayor, and see if you can do something."
He starts up high and he gets lower.
And he started laughing. He's like, he was like hyperventilating, laughing so hard at my imitation of him.
That's awesome. And then you're laughing back at him in his voice.
Oh yeah,
it's this bizarre Twilight Zone moment. That's awesome, dude. Oh my gosh. So you had jobs chucking animals. We worked at Deluxe together.
Worked at Deluxe.
What are we at on time? We've got through 45 minutes so far.
Wow.
So 45 minutes. That's how fast it goes.
Yeah, it does.
So quickly, let's talk metal.
Okay.
And then we can wrap up with some video game talk.
Okay.
And your experiences with video games, earliest video game memory. So tell me about metal, whatever you know about metal. Originates and where it comes from and types of metal. I mean, we don't have to get to everything, but I'm just...
All right.
I told the listeners we're going to do a special metal episode, and our intro was super metal.
This is metal.
Yes.
Okay, so even going back, that guy Chris,
Yeah.
I was in a metal band with him called North Meadow Park because it was the street we practiced on. So... metal. So I knew I needed to complete that thought. It was in Walton Hills. You could still see the street. It's the least metal street you'll ever see in your life.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I guess most people would say probably metal started with Zeppelin and Sabbath.
Okay.
Both of those
Now,
bands.
some people say classical music is all like...
Yeah.
All metal is based and traced back to classical. Is that right or no?
Yeah, in some regard, metal is a it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's not amalgamation.
Wow.
It's not that. It's a cacophony of different. It's the convergence. It's the confluence.
Okay.
Of a lot of different styles of music. It would be, I would say, classical music. That'd be one of them. Blues, definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Black Sabbath was very kind of bluesy.
Okay.
But it has changed over the years to be more jazz and classical influenced. Okay. I think most good bands, I think, try to pull from those type of genres. When you start seeing, like, even in metal, when you start seeing a lot of the, like, deathcore, really not a deathcore fan, that's a genre of music. It's like they're all trying to do the same thing, and they're not really trying to push musical boundaries. Uh-huh. That's originally why I didn't stop listening to hardcore, but I still love it. It still has a very special place in my heart. But hardcore is very it can be very repetitive. It's almost like the same story over and over and over again.
Okay.
They didn't really kind of pull from other music sources. They didn't really want to grow. But metal bands kind of seem to want to do that. They always wanted to push the musical envelope.
So they kind of like evolve, would you say? The metal?
I hate that word.
I know, it's a little cliche. But
well, because, it evolving, of course, assumes that there's no, like, it just happens.
Yeah.
But it doesn't just happen. There are people who put their minds, there are creators behind it who are actively changing it. And if they get another influence, then they end up incorporating that into their music.
So instead of evolution, it's more like intelligent design.
Yes, metal
we go.
is intelligent design.
We're appealing to both
good
spectrums.
Good musicians good musicians have intelligent design. They know exactly. They're very methodical.
Okay.
They pinpoint exactly what they want to do. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't like them, even if they're not my cup of tea, you can still kind of see that this is what it was very calculated. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Like, I'm not a Bob Dylan fan.
Yeah.
But he was very calculated in what he did. Mm-hmm. So it didn't just happen out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So that sounds like my son.
Baby's crying.
So yeah, metal over the years has really changed a lot. There's like even hardcore has changed. Hardcore used to be very, very punk oriented, and then it kind of moved into almost like metalcore, where a lot of the metal bands were making the hardcore bands heavier.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the hardcore bands were making the metal bands a little bit more raw. So they kind of pulled from each other, and now you kind of have what you have today. And there's some bands that are still doing some really good work.
What kind of like subgenres of metal are there? Because I've heard of like doom metal.
There's doom. Yeah,
there's like black metal.
There's black, metal core. I guess you can throw that in there. Of course I'm drawing a blank on it now.
Sure.
Power metal, of course.
Okay.
Folk metal.
Folk metal?
Yeah.
What would be a band that would be folk
Arcona.
metal?
They're from they're from Russia. I guess you can even consider Amorphous. They're also from they're from Finland.
Okay.
They're very folky. But there's those are pretty much the highlights. There's also I'm trying to think. It's still a broad brush.
Yeah.
It's sometimes really hard to pinpoint. There's post black metal nowadays.
Yeah.
Or melodic black metal. Black metal's always been a very symphonic.
Isn't black metal like originate from like Sweden and
Norway?
Yeah. Okay.
It's black metal started. There was a song from a band called Venom, and Venom I want to say is from England.
Okay.
And Venom had a song called Black Metal, and Norwegians were picking up on it, and they eventually made it a very. It started off as a pretty evil, and some bands continued in that, but other bands kind of got away from it, even though they weren't necessarily, I would say like spiritually good, or like maybe to use like Dungeons and Dragons terms, like they were like lawful evil,
Okay.
And then or lawful neutral. There was never like any really lawful good, until Extol or Antester. Those bands, Extol and Antester were kind of blackened or like black metal, if you will, but they were. Some of them called them unblack metal or white metal because they were stylistically kind of black metal-ish, but really like but
the content,
but they were Christian, yes. So the
lyrical.
content was different. And like bands like Emperor, they initially were almost like satanic.
Oh yeah,
but then you can kind of started to tell that they were veering away from that and going a little bit more into the like atmospheric kind of thing.
Are there? That's my thing, because I think so many times bands, it's like a front to sell CDs. It's like shock rock,
Yeah, I think like Slayer said something about that once.
Yeah, like I'm curious if there's actually bands that are like actual Satan worshipers versus ones that are just, it's kind of part of the bag, and the scene is like, naturally I worship the devil, because I'm in a black metal band.
And if that's the case, if that's what you're doing, that's pretty much what you are.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to be remembered for. You're not going to be remembered for saying, oh, well, I just did this for entertainment.
Yeah.
You're going to be remembered for, like Slayer's going to be remembered for the upside down cross, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are some bands that are, oddly enough, trying to change that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my band, Not Beneath, might be incorporating an upside down cross into our logo.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't it kind of
interesting?
funny? Yeah, artistic.
Small world.
Well, really, the upside down cross is Peter.
Sure.
So,
and it's the way he was crucified.
Yeah, we were thinking about maybe combining the two, like an upright with an upside down.
Yeah,
it's the like the Godhead, and then there's the human element, because I'm a human.
Yeah,
and so is Peter.
Are you?
Yeah, stating the obvious.
Carl.
Yeah, you're a human, all right.
I'm a monster.
You're also a monster.
So what are some bands to check out? Like if people that are like, I'd like to get into metal, what are some essentials, would you say? A couple bands you would check out?
Definitely. It's probably something to ease into. If you don't listen to metal, there's things that you should just start off with. Like Iron Maiden, I think would definitely be good to start with. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Iron Maiden, something current and pretty spacey would be Lantlos, Lantlos. They're from Germany. They're like a very atmospheric metal band. Their latest album, Melting Sun, it's incredible.
S-U-N?
S-U-N. No, yeah, S-U-N, Melting Sun. Yeah, it's incredible. Musically, it's not complicated at all, but they set the mood.
Yeah.
You know, where you listen to it and you feel like you're almost on a journey. You know, it's just it's.
Is it like
I think it's
why
wonderful.
is that? Musically, you feel like you're on a journey, or story wise?
Yeah, like you know when you listen to something and it just speaks to you, right? And if you know, in a way, kind of like if Pink Floyd did a metal project, it might be Lantlos.
Is it, what is that expression, or what's the term? Not a project album, or what's that called? Like when it's like a concept album.
A concept album, yeah. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
Where you really, it's a front to backer. There's very
Yeah.
few front to back albums.
Right.
That's a front to backer to me.
Really?
Yeah.
So what would you say, this is a loaded question, what would you say like top 3 metal albums?
Oh my gosh.
Or maybe top 5 if that
Well,
makes it easier.
there's personal ones, and then there's of all, like, just generally.
Like your opinion. You're the one on the mic. Your thoughts.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm saying like a personal one. There's my personal favorites, and then there's ones that really.
Sure, if you can give me both.
I'll try to put the two together. Definitely one that, the first metal album that was like holy shnikes.
Yeah.
Was Destroy, Erase, and Prove from Meshuggah. I think that was just Meshuggah.
And that
if you
was
don't
what
know him,
year that came out?
1995.
Okay.
The first time I heard it, I was like, man, these guys are all over the place. I don't get it. And then I heard one part, and I got it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness.
Were they
What was I thinking?
a lot of odd time signatures?
A lot of odd time
and stuff?
signatures.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been definitely my biggest influence. Definitely.
You told me about, you introduced another band, and one of the cool things you introduced me to was Benea Reach.
Oh yeah, Benea Reach.
I don't
Yeah.
know their backstory. Are they like American?
They're
or
Norwegian.
Norwegian?
They've since broken up.
Oh,
but,
really?
Yeah, they were like a dirgy.
They were sweet.
Slow metal.
What kind of metal would you say that is, genre-wise?
Oh, that's tough. They were heavy. They were just metal.
Yeah.
I would just consider them a metal band.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have 2 of their albums. Awakening, is that one of them? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. What about what's the band? Dichotomy was their one album. Like a Christian metal band.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
If you keep talking, I'll try to look them up. I think they're on my
Well,
phone.
okay, so other metal bands, as you're looking that up.
Yes.
At the Gates, Slaughter of the Soul. That's another very, very influential metal album.
Mm-hmm.
Other people would throw Carcass in the mix.
Okay.
I really wasn't a huge Carcass fan. But a couple other albums that did it for me were Inhabit from Living Sacrifice. They were a Christian metal band. They were nuts.
Becoming the Archetype.
Becoming the Archetype.
That's
Becoming the Archetype's also very good.
What would they be metal-wise?
They would be. I would put them in more of like the metal, just the. They're not traditional, but like modern metal.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay.
Becoming the Archetype was really good. Extol is easily one of my favorite bands.
Okay.
Like almost everything that they did, they're just incredible. They're an incredible band. Metal is an acquired taste.
Mm-hmm.
Although it's extremely popular worldwide, it's an extremely popular underground kind of thing.
Okay.
Even Pantera. I mean, you know Pantera, obviously. Yeah. I don't know how they got big. They were amazing.
Yeah.
White people say amazing and awesome all the time.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Just next time you talk to a white person,
just make a note.
Amazing. Hey, this is amazing. This is awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
We do.
British
that.
people say brilliant a lot.
Brilliant.
Yes,
Bloody
brilliant.
brilliant.
Yes, that's brilliant. Yes.
It's bloody brilliant, eh?
That was a little Irish there.
Oh, it's Scottish.
It's a brogue.
Yeah, it's a little brogue there.
Yeah, that's good.
I saw Trainspotting 8 times when I was 16.
Oh yeah.
In the movie theater, I went back every Monday.
Really?
Because I couldn't understand a word they were saying.
Oh,
so I eventually just went back.
That's great. And
I went
that's
back
how
as
you
long
learned.
as I could until I can figure out what they were talking about.
Now you've got it down.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Kind of.
That is awesome. See, I'm white and I just said it. I'm a white guy.
I'm a white guy. Awesome, amazing.
I don't know what else to say other than awesome and amazing. That's cool.
Yeah. So there's some good metal out there. It's just ease into it.
Okay.
See, I said it again. See, I said awesome. See,
very cool.
That's sensational metal.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
Okay. For some reason, it says remaining time's 8 minutes. I don't know why. I have plenty of space, so we may stop this and blah, blah, blah. But in closing remarks, I touched on the notes there. I was kind of wanting questions I want to ask you about.
Okay.
Video games.
Okay.
Break it down, man. What was your first system, first game, earliest video game memory? Arcades?
First video game system that I had was subsequently the first video game I had, and that was Commodore 64 and Defender.
Really?
Defender was the first game.
First Commodore 64 reference we've had on the show, so that's excellent.
Yes, Commodore 64. I remember loading the floppies.
5-inch? Is that right?
Yeah.
The big guys?
5.5 or something. Yeah,
Because there was the really big ones, and then they got them smaller.
Yeah, this was a smaller.
Then there was the 3.5-inch.
Yeah. And I remember playing Defender. I remember waking up early to play Defender.
Was it comma 8, comma 1? Wasn't there something like command? I thought Commodore 64 there was comma 8, comma 1.
There might have been. I don't remember. Okay. That I don't remember at all.
Did you pop it in and then hit enter, or did you have to type in a code?
I don't remember. Not in the slightest. I don't remember at all.
Who's texting me? Okay. So Defender,
that was it. Then the next video game system I got was Mario. Whereas Mario Brothers was, my brain was thinking too far ahead. It was Nintendo, the NES.
The NES. Okay.
And what I was going to say about that is that Nintendo came with Mario Brothers.
Yep.
Okay, and Duck Hunt. As the dual cartridge
Zapper.
And I never beat Mario 1.
Yeah,
I couldn't beat it. I remember I got to the end, did all the cheat codes, or like you go to level 3 and you warp to,
run up top by the score. Yep.
Yeah, there was. You remember there were places that were better to warp from.
Right,
like you can warp in level 2 or something like that, but it would only take you to level 5.
Yep.
Or you can warp in 3 and it'll take you to like 8 or 10, whichever was the last one. Like you could, all right. So I remember I played it so many times. I did the thing with the turtle where you can like get 99 lives.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, callback.
And then you do that, and then I remember just playing it over and over and over again. I could never beat Bowser at
the final.
The
stage.
First Mario game I beat was Mario 2, but that wasn't the first video game I beat.
Mario 2. What did you think about Mario 2?
I liked Mario 2.
You did?
Yeah.
That's a pretty hot button topic for Mario fans, because most Mario fans hated the second one. Third one was Redemption. That was like the ultimate.
Yeah, third one was
people.
Really good, and that was like the Wiz, or no, not the Wiz. That's
That's the
Wizard, right? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, American Wizard of Oz. Yeah, the Wizard. Yeah, Fred Savage.
The Wizard with Fred Savage. I remember, you see Mario 3, and you're like,
yeah, which Dan Owings, who's not here today with us, but we talk about that. It was like just a giant product placement for Mario Brothers 3.
The kid when he had the power glove.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh,
totally.
Any kid from that time,
it was the ultimate.
Lost his, whatever.
Schnitzel, or what did you say?
Yeah, I like that. Lost his schnitzel.
Yeah.
Over that movie.
Did you have any arcades growing up? Was there any like?
Yeah, I went to like
good arcades around here.
There were just like a couple. There was the only one I can really remember was in Parmatown Mall. There's a city Parma in it's the first suburb out of Cleveland. Parmageddon. Yep, it's where the world's gonna end.
That's right.
But there was an arcade there. I never really played at the arcade because it was always like it was too expensive.
Sure. Yeah, that's up crazy.
But
okay, so you did Defender and the Commodore 64.
Defender, yep. First video game I beat.
Yes.
Ninja Gaiden 2.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Ninja Gaiden 2.
Ninja Gaidens, I never beat any of them. They are super tough.
Yeah.
And so frustrating. Because I'm on a ladder, some stupid bird or a hawk is flying, picking at me.
Oh, man. Metal. Those are metal riffs.
Yeah.
Okay? All of those. The guy who did, oh my gosh. Mega Man, Man, those are all metal riffs. Ninja Gaiden, metal riffs.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
Perfect.
Yeah. I gotta cover this. I don't know why I didn't cover this.
Yeah, that's great though. That's a good callback because we're talking about metal and music and video games.
It's all of those are metal.
That's so cool.
Without a doubt.
I gave you that CD for your birthday. That's Super Guitar Brothers.
Yeah.
And they do Castlevania.
Yes.
Which is
Castlevania
awesome.
Metal. Castlevania 2.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Castlevania 2 is the music from that game.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so epic. And that's what's amazing, because as long as you have a good melody, it doesn't matter if a full orchestra's playing it or it's just a little 8-bit sound. It's all about the melody.
Oh my goodness. The people who wrote those were, geniuses. They were geniuses.
So catchy, so amazing.
Yeah.
So Ninja Gaiden 2 is the first game you ever beat.
And did you beat Mario 1?
I probably did. I just
Okay.
don't remember.
All right.
When I was a kid, I had stationery that had Mario on it.
Yeah.
And it was like numbered. And so I went and I beat all the games that I beat. I would write down on this cool stationery pad. And I was like
Okay.
at 106 games that I beat.
Wow.
So I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Super Mario Bros. Was on there.
I only beat like a handful, but I'm like I remember them. I definitely beat Mario 3. So
Yeah.
I beat Mario 2 and Mario 3.
What was the next system you got after the Nintendo?
Nintendo 64.
Oh, yeah? You
Yeah.
skipped the Super Nintendo?
Well, my buddy Chris, who I
Yeah.
grew up with, he had Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So I just played his Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And we both went in on. Oh no, did we? No. I have the N64 though that we had from our practice spot.
Oh, cool.
Like 10 years ago. I don't. Did we? I don't know if we went in on it. I get it. Moot point.
Sure.
But GoldenEye was. It's the game.
It is.
That is the multiplayer game.
Yeah.
I don't care about a lot of people like Halo and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but like you got to understand
Yeah.
GoldenEye.
For couch co-op,
Yeah.
it's the best.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Oh, and Chris, that guy Chris was so good at GoldenEye. I hated playing against him.
What was your favorite map?
I think probably the facility.
Yeah.
With no, I'm sorry, Temple with sniper
Temple.
rifles.
Okay.
Yeah, Temple with sniper rifles.
Because everybody has their favorite GoldenEye map and kind of gun setup.
Yeah.
So we always did facility, my buddies and I,
Okay.
with proximity mines. And we would throw them up in the vent.
Yeah.
And we all knew the spawn points. So
Yeah.
you would spawn in the ductwork.
Yeah.
And you drop down to the toilet like
Yep.
in the movie. And
Yep.
we would put like 40 of them in
Yeah.
that room. It was just hilarious.
Chris used to do that in oh gosh, what's the one that was all gray? I can't remember.
All gray?
Yeah, it was all gray. There was the facility,
There's the, I think the cradle. I don't know if
the
that was one of them.
library.
Yeah, there's the Aztec tomb one or whatever.
And I can't remember, but that was a complicated level,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew all the regeneration points, and he would just put proximity mines there. So
Yeah.
every time you regenerated, boom, you just die right away.
Yeah.
And that's what he was. Chris is a brilliant person, and
Yeah.
he used that to his advantage. in
Used
every
his powers
play.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah. But GoldenEye was a great game. I don't know if I ever beat it, but I never really cared to, just because I liked playing multiplayer so much.
Yeah, I beat it on 007 difficulty or whatever it was, the hardest
Yeah.
level. I beat the Cradle, which was
Yeah.
the last level, the main
Yes.
guy, which was so fun. But yeah, and I told you earlier we had Grant Kirkhope on, who did the
Yeah.
music
Oh,
for GoldenEye,
gosh.
who was brilliant. So guys, if you haven't had a chance to yet, check out our episode with Grant Kirkhope. He did Banjo-Tooie, Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark, Grab by the Ghoulies.
Perfect Dark was so good too. Well, it was the same thing.
Yeah,
the same as GoldenEye.
So many amazing games, and it was actually a really fun interview. He's a super guy. And so yeah, GoldenEye. So then from N64, what was the next?
Dreamcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dreamcast guy.
I went to Dreamcast.
I just have a special
And-
place in my heart for Dreamcast people.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a ton of them.
Yeah, I liked it, and part of the reason
I
why I
did
liked
too.
it too is because somebody gave me a Nintendo emulator.
Really?
Yeah, so I would play NES games on Dreamcast.
Cool.
And I loved it. It was like 900 some odd games.
Is that all you played, or did you have any Dreamcast games for it?
I did have Dreamcast games. I had Soul Calibur. I loved Soul Calibur.
Yeah. But the soul still burns.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah,
Namco.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great game.
Nightmare wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was kind of like Tekken. Mm-hmm. The gameplay was
It
very
looked
similar to Tekken.
amazing. It was a great looking game.
Yeah, and like one of my buddies had, which like a Sega Saturn,
Yes.
and PlayStation. He had all the PlayStations, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was like PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 then, but
Yeah.
but I remember playing Tekken and Kuma. I remember playing like Kuma was the bear.
Okay.
And
Sounds familiar.
I just remember how much I wanted to we would do fight scenes when we were in high school, and we made some movies that are on Google or on YouTube right now. My buddy Brett has a link to all the movies that we made when we were in high school.
Oh, sweet.
It's hilarious.
We'll
Like
put
the
those.
VHF. Oh, they're so bad they're good.
We'll have to put them on. We'll put them in the show notes so people
Excellent.
can watch them.
So like I would imitate Kuma because he had this side swipe and then this upstroke and then down. He was like rah, rah, rah. And I was like, oh, he's hilarious. He's metal.
Yeah.
Anybody who's cool is metal.
Sure.
Anybody who's like that, they're metal.
Yeah, totally metal. Did you ever play on the Sega Genesis Altered Beast?
Yeah, I do remember it.
That reminds me
yeah.
of a metal. That seems like a
Power
metal.
up.
Yeah. There's like a beast you turn into. Oh
Yeah.
man, so great. So cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dreamcast. I had that. and I had House of the Dead 2.
Okay.
With the gun.
Yeah, I remember
which was
House
so
of the
fun.
Dead.
And Desert and I would play that, and I love that. It was terrible voice acting.
Yeah.
The worst. And like I think the globalization of like from Japan to America, like there'd be someone like chasing the person like, don't come, come. And then they would say, we're meeting G over there. It's just like so dumb. You know? And we played it so many times.
I remember that.
These minds.
I never played that game really, but like, but I remember, my other buddy Josh would play it. And I would just like, a lot of times, at least in terms of video games, I liked watching people play video games.
Really?
Yeah. I'm weird like that. I would just watch people play.
There's people like that.
And just kind of just watch what they're doing. And I would just I'd be very analytical because I knew that I wasn't going to put in the time to really become a very good player, a good gamer. But I liked watching other people. I was just very fascinated by it. So I remember like Josh playing games, and it was House of the Dead, right?
Yeah. House of the Dead. I don't know if it was House of the Dead 2. I don't remember, but I think it was House of the Dead 2.
Yeah, and like whenever they would, there would be the shift.
Yep.
Where the screen shift.
Yeah.
And then you'd see like 4 zombies right away, and then you had to be really quick. And like, Josh was always really quick.
The bosses were creepy. The first boss in the first level is like this real big kind of like suit of armor guy, and there's this like little red flying demon, and like the way he talked, it was super creepy. I was like, oh, shoot that thing! That thing's creeping me out.
I never really liked it. Although I liked some horror movies.
Yeah.
I didn't like a lot. I'll transition it, to tangent it to that.
Sure.
So I like a lot of the horror games, aside from maybe Castlevania 2, if you will.
Yeah, which wasn't like scary.
No,
it wasn't gratuitous.
But so I never really liked them. Like even with like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think is the scariest movie ever made.
The old one,
the
or the
original
new
one.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw the old one. The new one was very creepy to me. I thought
like The Shining. Creepy. That one was creepy, and like so that one I could watch, and that didn't bug me.
Yeah.
But
I was in the horror films a ton too. Like once I graduated from high school, went out to Bible school is when I bought all of the Scream movies. I bought all of I Know What You Did Last Summer movies. Yep. I saw Scream 3 in the theater. Was when it came out, and I used my Bible student ID to get like $3 off at AMC. I was like, yeah, I'm here, and it's kind of like I'm embarrassed, but
I liked Scream.
Yeah, the thing I liked about I wasn't into like all the guts and the blood and everything like that. That wasn't like I wasn't like, oh, this is amazing. I didn't care about that. I just loved the mystery of who was the killer. Yeah, that's what sucked me in big time.
For me, is it like any horror movie that I liked, and maybe why I gravitated so much towards the Evil Dead trilogy, as it's affectionately called, is because there was always a hero.
Okay,
and it's Ash. So I liked Evil Dead was good, but I really liked Evil Dead 2.
Okay.
There was something just like very comical, but still very horror.
Yeah.
But very funny because they put in a lot of slapstick elements, like from the Three Stooges.
So they were trying to make it.
They
funny.
were trying to, and it worked for me.
Yeah.
So then watching Army of Darkness, it was like the result of all of that. So it's still horror, but there's a hero, and I think that's why I think I like those movies, because with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's just gratuitous killing,
right?
And then there's no hero,
right? There's no redemption. It's just the bad guys win for the most part, or the good guys barely escape with their lives, and they're bloody.
And I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's kind of stuff drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, then you're just making a movie just to show gratuitous violence. There's no point.
There's no
this.
point. It's just senseless. Yeah. I get that. No, I totally get that.
So back to House of the Dead.
Yes.
So I was like, I really don't enjoy this game.
Right.
Games like GoldenEye, like there's justice. You're getting the bad guys.
Right.
Like I like this.
Odd job.
Yeah. Odd job.
Random task. Yeah. So when my Dreamcast, I had Skies of Arcadia, which was a role playing game, which was a blast. Trying to think what else I had for Dreamcast. I had the Sonic game, which was a lot of fun. Great graphics, a lot of fun. And then so what after Dreamcast? What did you get?
After that, I think was. It was the Xbox
original.
It was the original. It was Xbox. I think 1. Was that the one? No.
Xbox 360.
Xbox 360. That was the one that we got together.
Yes. The story behind that is Micro Center.
Yep.
In Columbus, they were selling like refurb systems, I think, really cheap.
Yes.
And so I was buying them for my buddies. They'd pay me, and I would pick them up for him. And then when I was in the area or meeting up or whatever, I would deliver them. So I think I delivered you like your second or third one because it kept failing. I'd get it back from you, take it back to Micro Center with a receipt. It was a lot of legwork, but after the second or third one, they made it right. They gave me a brand new in the box Xbox 360.
Correct.
Which I was like, here you go. And it was great. And I remember you calling me from GameStop, like, what game should I get? And I was like, I love that I'm like the gaming advisor.
And I liked, I only really played Need for Speed on that.
Yeah.
There was a few games I played Need for Speed I thought was
like Need
awesome.
for Speed Most Wanted on the 360?
I think it was Most Wanted, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Yeah. Like the gameplay was really good. I think that they got that right.
Yeah. It felt great. And I remember we were playing and having a good time, and then I went to bed. It was late. It was like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
I showed you Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, and you were in. And I loved it because I love video games, and I have a lot of friends that like video games, but then I have other friends that are just like, they dabble, but you were like sucked in. I remember like 3 or 4 in the morning hearing you on Xbox Live, like, oh, come on. I was like, I'm so happy you were still playing. I was like, yes, sink in your claws.
That was the last time I played that game too, which is funny.
Yeah, I know. It was just, that was it.
Well, because I kind of feel like I almost had a feeling of my priorities right away.
That's great.
Where I was like, I know this is gonna suck me in.
Yeah.
And I am not gonna get out. Like I'm gonna go full force with this, and I can't because I have music, and music is my priority. So I stopped.
Yeah.
I stopped there. And so and even continuing on with other game systems I've had, the next one, it was Nintendo Wii, and that's the last one I've had.
Yeah,
I haven't.
And you have a Need for Speed Turbo?
I have Need for Speed Turbo
for that one. Yeah,
which I think your son is playing upstairs.
He is. Probably. And after we eat dinner, then we're gonna have to head back. But I definitely want to try Ninja Gaiden 2.
Oh yeah,
on the console or on your Wii. And what was the other one you had? You have quite a few. You have Tecmo Bowl.
I have Tecmo Bowl. That was a really good one.
It's a great game.
Tecmo Super Bowl was the best one though.
Everybody says that. I've never played it.
Tecmo Super Bowl is much better because in the original Tecmo Bowl, I think you only had 4 plays that you can go between, whereas Tecmo Super Bowl I think had 8.
Okay,
it was something like that.
I love that. My brother and I played that all the time.
Yeah, it was great. And you could just do that forever.
Yeah.
QB Browns.
QB Browns, yeah.
It wasn't Bernie Kosar, it was QB Browns. I still have the favorite video games are probably either the ones that I beat or that I just like the music to the most.
Yeah, just sucked you in.
Yeah.
I get that.
Ninja Gaiden 2, definitely, since this is the first video game I beat. I beat it when I was in Florida. I brought my Nintendo to Florida from Cleveland. I have family in Boca. And I
Boca Raton?
In Boca Raton, yeah.
Rat's Mouth?
Yep, the Rat's Mouth. And I remember beating it at my aunt's house, and I was like, holy crap, this is great. I remember I bought it. It was in the cheap bin. It was maybe I think it was out for, I think because Ninja Gaiden 3 might have come out.
Yeah.
So Ninja Gaiden 2 was marked down.
Oh,
yes.
Awesome.
So I think I might have bought it for like $10 at the time. And when they were normally, the cartridges were anywhere from $40 to $80.
Jeez.
I remember these prices from Kitty City, or no, it wasn't Kitty City. It was Children's Palace. Remember that one?
No.
I don't know if you remember Children's
Is that
Palace.
A department store?
Yeah, it was a kid's store.
That's probably a Cleveland thing.
It was like Toys R Us.
Okay. Yeah. Did you have Hills up here?
We did have Hills. Yeah.
Hills are where the toys are.
Previously to Hills, it was Gold Circle. Remember Gold Circle?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, Gold Circle. That was the department store.
Okay.
Then it went to Hills.
Okay.
And then Hills.
I had so many good memories at Hills.
Oh my goodness!
My dad would go and always get either a giant pretzel or a giant thing of popcorn. He'd be elbow deep in it, just eating it. You know, so salty, unbelievable. And then you wash it down with a cherry icy. But I remember he bought me. I think it's either a Nintendo or Super Nintendo. I remember the original box, getting it. Couldn't wait. I was opening it up, taking all the plastic. I'm smelling the games. You know, I'd always smell my new games, which is super weird. But I was like, it was a good moment.
The first. I remember 2 brands from. I remember one brand, but I remember something I bought from there. It was, oh my goodness, early 90s. One of them was Z Cavarici.
Yeah.
Remember that brand?
Yeah, brand of clothing.
Yeah. There's Z Cavarici, but I remember I got my first Hypercolor shirt.
Yes.
From Hills.
Oh yes. Did you wear cologne?
Not when I was.
What was the first cologne you had? Do you remember?
Yes.
Preferred stock.
I got it from a girl in middle school.
Yeah, usually middle school is when you start working with the fragrances.
It was Cool Water.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, it's oh gosh, Davidoff Cool Water. That was my first cologne, but I didn't get it from Hills though. I take it you did.
I got yes, it probably was because my dad exclusively still wears Brute, and so if you smell Brute, it makes me think of my dad. But I had Preferred Stock. That was my first fragrance I ever had, and my older brother, who was 6 years older than me, he had Drakkar Noir, which is Black Viking ship.
Oh yeah.
So I knew that Preferred Stock was like the starter fragrance, and I was like, man, I want to be like my older brother. I want to have Drakkar Noir.
Yeah.
So once in a while, he would let me, take a spritz.
I always wanted like Hugo Boss.
Yeah.
I liked Hugo Boss. I have imitation Hugo Boss upstairs from Mark's.
Sweet.
Yeah, Mark's. Mark's is like a small grocery chain. Grocery or grocery?
I like the second one better.
Yeah, grocery.
I would say.
Yeah, that's
like
a very Cleveland thing. Grocery. The grocery store.
Yeah.
So they had, it was about a month or so ago, they had imitation Hugo Boss on sale for like $3.
Perfect.
I was like, yeah, I'm buying this.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be able to tell the difference.
Was it close?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty close.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It just doesn't last as long.
Yeah. There was one called Wings that I had for a while, and I think it was when I was dating Desiree, and I had Wings, and I was wearing it, and then that night I got like violently sick, and I was throwing up everywhere, and I smelled it on my clothes still, so like I was like, I can't. I had to throw it away the next day because I'm like, this triggers vomiting, and that's not good because I can't be like, hot night in the town. So spritz it out.
I have a question for you.
Yes, please.
Because we were talking about gaming.
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
Did you ever play Dungeons and Dragons?
I never did. I wasn't allowed to because I grew up in a strict Christian household.
Okay. Although that was very frowned upon at the Southern
like with
Baptist
the dice
church I went to. Yeah.
Like with the eight-sided die.
There were so many die you could use. Like we had a 100-sided die.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's like a ball.
We were
round.
fairly serious with how we played it. And I remember I was very discouraged at the church that I went to. They really knocked it down. But it's kind of just like anything else in life. Like you could take it and you can make it super evil.
Yeah.
Or you can take it and just make it silly and fun. And that's exactly what we did.
Yeah. And I've heard it. And did you have like the graph paper? Like I don't understand there was like the book.
There's the book. And
books.
usually the dungeon master had the book.
He's the biggest nerd of the group.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And you had your sheet, who is your character. And you can name your character whatever you wanted, of course. And then when we were developing the character, I think that the dungeon master didn't want us to start from nothing. Okay. Because if usually you start your character almost from nothing and then you just build them up over a period of time. And then you pick an alignment.
Okay.
So something we mentioned earlier was, neutral, good, or like lawful. There's a neutral and a lawful, I think. And then there was an evil and a good. So you can be like lawful evil. So your character was evil, but only obeyed the law.
Huh.
And then there was
like a
either
Pharisee?
Neutral evil or unlawful evil. Yeah, because there was also unlawful, which means that they would do anything they could to break the law. I mean, and their character was evil. And then neutral evil was just like, maybe I don't remember my alignments very well, but I think I had a neutral good.
Okay.
Alignment for my character. I don't even remember my character's name, but we would roll to find out what our character attributes were going to be like. Like your constitution, how much?
Sure. So you couldn't just pick and say you've got 100 points to assign. I want my strength to be 28. I want,
Yeah, and I don't remember like that. I remember we rolled.
Because I never played, so I'm actually kind of curious. Like,
I think we rolled a 20-sided die in order to find out what our character was going to be made up of.
Yeah.
And we had to play relative to that, so it was fun.
It sounds fun.
It was great. I mean, like roll to attack,
Yeah.
Or roll to pickpocket. That's what the 100-sided die was from. So we would roll, and if we got a certain amount, of course, then we would have pickpocketed. And depending on how where the number lied, it was a flawless pickpocket, or maybe they felt a little bit. Right. So the dungeon master. So I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna pickpocket this guy. If my character was a thief, sometimes we had multiple characters, and then he'd say, all right, roll to pickpocket. So you roll the die. And he'd be like, okay, so you rolled a 65, which means you successfully pickpocketed, but they felt a little something, and now they're suspicious of you.
Okay.
And you're like, oh my goodness, like thanks, dice.
Do you remember? Do you remember your names? The characters.
The only one I remember was one that Chris played.
Okay.
That guy Chris that I've been mentioning throughout the show.
Yeah.
He had his character was Peter Steele, which is the lead singer for a metal band out of New York called Typo Negative.
Okay.
So his character was Peter Steele.
That's so funny.
That's the only name I remember.
Stuck in your brain. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a sweet name.
But,
yeah, no, I was never allowed to play it. I remember people playing it around me. I had a friend named Andy who had a couple buddies that played it. And I was just like, you know, really scared of it. And I think the biggest thing is because we talked about video games. You know, there's the big thing with the gun laws and different things like that, where people are like, violent video games cause people to use guns and kill people. Yeah. And like, I disagree with that. I do agree that there is a thing called desensitizing yourself.
Yeah, of
I
course.
get that, but I think it's all, there's no power in that if you grow up with a relatively good home life. I'm not saying that you have to have a mom and dad and they love each other all the time and it's the perfect, Leave It to Beaver. But I think if you have a good home life, where a kid is coming home, 10, 12, 14 years old, he's coming home, he has a mom or dad that's home with him, and he's not just like a latchkey kid, and learning things on his own and being influenced by his friends. Or there's also people that have mental illnesses, so you take somebody that has like a mental illness and you put them in just a sad environment where they're by themselves all the time, and then you add in violent video games and stuff. Yeah, sure, I think that could be,
and then it can influence. Yeah, I don't think it's I think it can. But trying to pick these words carefully. If you are predisposed to violent tendencies, you will look for excuses in order to act those out. So I was spanked growing up, and I am not a violent person.
Right.
Although, like when I play music is almost my source for violence. It's almost, if you're a musician or if you're a drummer, like you hit the drums.
Yeah.
So that's in a way, it's form of controlled violence. It's that's like venting.
Outlet.
But then some people, of course, do bad things with it.
Sure.
And they hit their spouse or they take it out on kids at their school. They become a bully. A lot of kids I know, like I was bullied.
Yeah.
But it never made me want to turn around and do that to somebody else.
You have to get it out. You have to have an outlet, but you have to have a healthy outlet for it, is what you're saying.
100%. Yeah. And of course, it does take guidance because when you're a kid, like really, I was stupid when I was a kid.
Yeah, we all were.
And I needed guidance.
Yeah.
And if you lack guidance, and if you get guidance, but it's bad guidance, you're going to do some stupid stuff. And it's not going to be... It's not like, can it be related to video games? Yeah, it can be. But to some people, that's probably just their way of getting it out. They shoot people on video games and then they're done. Whereas other people are going to look at the video game and maybe do something about it. Maybe they want to do it in real life. It's so hard to tell.
Yeah.
I think it's really on the individual basis. But so although I don't maybe 100%, I concur with you.
Yeah.
I don't think that the video games are inherently the issue.
Yeah,
I think that's where that becomes scapegoated. Like, the the violent video games are why people. No, it's not. It's
right.
It's aiding though because the kids don't have good guidance to begin with.
Yeah, it's the foundation. It's the base of that.
Yeah.
So that's so good. We could talk forever. About other things. So we'll have to come back, or if you guys come down to Columbus sometime.
Yeah, we could do. Well, okay. Thank you.
Sure.
For thinking I'm interesting enough.
You are interesting enough
to put me on a podcast.
You could have a podcast of your own.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
I think this is giving me the itch.
Yeah, that's the goal. We've had people as guests get fired up about it, and then and you'll know because you think about it more. You're like, you know what? That was kind of fun. Or you'll hear a podcast that you're like, the audio is bad, or these guys aren't interesting. I could do it way better. It fires you up.
And the funny thing about that is that I get calls from podcasters. What I do at Audio Technica, I'm a support specialist.
Okay.
And that is all rolled up into a lot of different jobs. A lot of different jobs are rolled up into this.
Yeah.
Like applications. How do I use a product? Or technical support. My product doesn't work. Or... I'd like to figure out how to interface an Audio Technica product for something, or I'd like to figure out how to do this. So people call me up, oddly enough, about podcasting all the time.
Cool.
And because I know enough with my recording background and how a lot of these connections work, Like for instance, you are using a Digi 002, and I used to own a 002, but most people don't know how to operate that. So what I would tell them to do is what operating system are you using? Oh, you're using a Mac. Well, what you could do is get a USB hub, and you can connect multiple USB devices to the hub and then create aggregate devices for all of them. But the problem with doing that is that when you output, you can really only output to one of them. You can't output to multiples. So a better idea for any computer format would be to get a small USB mixer that can handle, XLR inputs, get compatible microphones and plug them all into the XLR inputs, and then USB into your computer.
Okay.
Record that way. You can do multi-track that way.
Sure.
So I get calls about that all the time. So it's interesting now that I've been telling people how to do podcasting for so long, yet I've never done it.
Yeah.
I know all the theory behind it.
Yeah. And you have such a great background, and you make great music, and you're like a sound scientist. I've always called you that. Like,
well, thank you.
And you'll like, hey, drop the, lower the tens, and you're going to want more 250 hertz. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Can you just do it for me? So you have a passion for sound, and passions. One of your main passions is that. So you would make a sick podcast because you're hilarious and interesting. And that's what's fun about podcasting. You can make it whatever you want. Kevin Smith, who's the Jay and Silent Bob, that guy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He said that the final thing that for me one of the things I wanted to do was like, that was it. I was done when he said, however you feel or think or react to things and view the world, there's at least 10,000 other people that feel the same way you do.
Absolutely.
And after that, I was great. So it can be this weird niche type thing, So, I mean, gosh, we could talk forever about things, but what I want to do is a really quick, cheesy, shameless plug.
Okay.
First off, we've talked about Evil Dead. We've talked about Dreamcast games.
Oh my, yes.
If you love Dreamcast, if you're like, you know what, after talking, I want to buy a Nintendo game, here's what you do. You go to the 99livespodcast.com, 99livespodcast.com. This is totally commercial, and it's totally happening, but don't forward 15 seconds through this. And if you want to help support the show, we are a free show. We don't ask for anything other than if you wouldn't mind just checking out 99livespodcast.com. There's an Amazon banner. Click the Amazon banner. That opens up Amazon for you. You can go and type in Ninja Gaiden 2 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. There it is for $3.99. You buy it. It adds nothing to your total. There's no extra steps. You check out. Boom. We get a small percentage of that with whatever you buy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which helps. So, or say, hey, I want to buy a $3,000 TV on Amazon. Perfect. I'm going to go to 99livespodcast.com. Click on the Amazon banner that way. Some people, what they do is if they forget, go to 99 Lives Podcast, rename it Amazon. So you'll see your Amazon at the top of your toolbar. Click Amazon. Oh, 99 Lives Podcast. Oh yeah. Click that Amazon banner. Boom. And it goes right to, you check out, you get your toy, you get your book, whatever you want. We get a small percentage to help the show, help keep it going.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's seamless.
I'm going to have to do that. I didn't even know that.
It's pretty cool, dude. It's pretty cool.
I'm going to be doing that.
So people that purchase for their, multi-million-dollar companies, hook us up.
Okay.
And help support the show that way. We also have merch for sale too, t-shirts for $15, which are an amazing, very comfortable shirt. So check those out as well. And that's it. We don't ask for much from y'all. We love our listeners. They're very good to us.
So my band Not Beneath, that was a Living Sacrifice song, and that was the Christian metal band that was good enough. A lot of Christian bands they have very good intentions, and but they're not very good musicians. And I think that was very true, at least in the 90s. Except for Stryper, which is an 80s band, and they were awesome. I didn't really like them, but they were awesome.
Yeah.
But Not Beneath was a Living Sacrifice song, and that album on Inhabit, it changed. That album changed me.
Yeah. So what's amazing though is this will be an exclusive track. In a sense, would you say?
Yeah, I would say that this is
because if it airs in a couple weeks from December, so if if this airs January, February, potentially the finished work wouldn't be out yet.
Yeah, you'd
so this
be
is an exclusive
pre-production. This would be exclusive to.
I'm just trying to hype up our show.
No, 100%.
You see, I'm just trying to make it about myself.
No,
and our show. Yeah.
No. This would be an exclusive to 99 Lives.
Awesome. Sweet. All right. Well, I'm getting text messages. Our chicken stroganoff is ready.
Okay.
It's time to go eat chicken stroganoff, and then we're going to play some Ninja Gaiden 2, and then I'm going to drive back to Columbus.
Thanks again for having me on.
Hey, man. Anytime.
Incredible.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Again, I'm really glad you think my life is interesting enough to put on a podcast.
A lot of people say that, but I say everybody has a story. Everybody comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, and 10,000 other people think that as well.
That I hope so.
Yeah.
It's not, I always want to make a bigger impact.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels selfish just having these things on your own.
Yeah.
I've always liked entertaining. I always like to entertain people and keep people laughing as much as possible.
Yeah.
To just get through this mess of a life that some people have just more to deal with. Thankfully, we live here. We don't have a lot to deal with. We just have first world problems for the most part. So I'm just very thankful. All right, so this is my band, Not Beneath. This is a 99 Lives podcast exclusive.
Yes.
Before, very pre-production, but hopefully you like it. It's very metal.
We give you... What's the name of the song? Do we know it?
I think that the preliminary name of the song is Dichotomy.
Perfect. Here we go.
Yeah, it's about that we are both flesh and spirit. We're right now we're melded together.
Sweet.
We're like one thing. But I sometimes I just don't get it. I mean, other people, of course you're not going to get it because you don't have a spirit. I believe I do.
Yeah.
I feel it in my gut.
Yeah.
And this is it's incredible to know that I'm both.
Yeah.
So here it is, Dichotomy.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Well, gosh, thanks for having me.
Until next time. Rock on.
Metal.